皆さん、こんにちは。本たち好きです。読むが本当面白い。もっと本は欲しいです。I am Carl. This is my Lingo Kingdom where I talk about learning the languages of the Isles, Gaelic, Kumraig, and Nihongo. In this video, I want to show you all of the books that I'm using right now and I'm going to be using shortly as my skills progress to help me learn Japanese. So I'm going to kind of divide these books that I've got up into two different categories. One category is just manga, and the other category is kind of more textbooks. So the main ways that I'm learning Japanese, if you've not already seen it, is this video up here where I talk about how I'm currently studying Japanese, and my wife and I have been learning for the past year, a little over a year. But I wanted to dive more into the different books that I'm using in this video. And so to start off with the manga. Yotsubato. This is the one that I'm going to start reading very soon because it's actually something that me, as still a beginner, is actually going to be able to kind of read. I would put myself somewhere at the A1, A2 level as far as being still a basic learner. And so this is going to be kind of enough to stretch me because this is like M5 level, yeah. So Yotsubato, next manga that I'm going to learn once I get good enough, is going to be Pokemon. And one of the reasons why I got this, in addition to nostalgia, is because I still have my old English version of this from when I was a kid. And so even though these look different, different sizes, and this one's brand new and this one's definitely not, this is actually the same version. It's just that this one's in Japanese and this one's in English. So I'll be able to compare them side by side. And so I've got kind of like the first 4 or 5 of the English, and I've got the first 5 in Japanese. So if I'm struggling with the Japanese, I can just open up to the English one on the same page and be like, oh, okay, so that's what that kind of means. And lastly, I'm definitely not ready for this manga yet, but I really enjoyed watching the anime, the first season of the anime, and that is Kimetsu no Yaiba. I went a little crazy, and I actually got the first 23 volumes of Kimetsu no Yaiba. I think all of these, even though they've got kanji in here, they've also got furigana to go with all of the kanji. So that's also going to help. And the reason why I think everyone, if you're learning Japanese, you should pick up some manga, even if it's something really easy like Yotsubato, because if you get into the story, if you're learning through stories like I am, then you'll be a lot more inclined to keep going. I'm also taking a Japanese course called Japanese Uncovered, which is taught by a guy who teaches you how to speak and read Japanese through the power of story. Famous YouTuber, Ollie Richards, you've probably heard of him. And if you want to learn more about his course that I'm also taking, and you want to learn along with me, then I've got a link for you right up here. Now, moving on from the manga to the textbooks. Most people have not really heard a lot of before, and it's kind of surprising since it's such a helpful book. And since my wife and I are expecting our first child, we're expecting a son in May, we're looking forward to using this in the future to help him learn Japanese. And I'm also going to be buying, picture books in Gaelic and Kumraig and stuff like that. But for now, we've got this, which is a Japanese picture dictionary. And it's really cool because each of the kind of topics are separated by chapter. So there's a chapter on stuff in the kitchen, and there's a chapter on foreign languages. There's a chapter on stuff that you'd see in the city or that you would see in a grocery store. And they've got all these cool pictures, and they've got, of course, the kanji, they've got romaji, they've got the English translation, and it's going to be really good if you've got little kids and you're trying to teach them Japanese, or even if you're a beginner like me and you're still at the little kid level and you want to learn Japanese. So definitely recommend this as well. If you want to find any or all of these books, I'll have links for those in the description for you. Now, this next textbook is one that I think a lot of people have heard of, and it might kind of intimidate you. I know it intimidated me when I heard of it, but it is actually one that I think I'm going to like a lot, and that is RTK, Remembering the Kanji. Now, this is just the first volume. There's actually 3 volumes, but I've heard from people who have used these books and learned Japanese through them that you really only need the first and the third book. I don't really know why, but that's the word on the street. And this is really not just about just trying to brute force memorize all of it like the kids do in Japanese schools in Japan, but really in teaching you the different radicals or the different kind of building blocks of the parts that make up the different kanji. So once you recognize what these different radicals are and you see them mixed together, you can kind of be like, oh, that probably means something like this, because it's got the radical for moon and the radical for money and the radical for, you know, whatever. So I've just started this, and I've also been watching some videos to kind of reinforce it that go along with this. But it's really interesting, and I'm looking forward to learning more about it, especially as I've already been learning kanji through the apps that I've been using. This is going to kind of help me learn more about where all of those kanji come from and kind of reinforce the kanji that I've already learned, in addition to helping me learn kanji that's brand new. Now the last textbook I don't have yet because I pre-ordered it. It hasn't even been released yet. But I pre-ordered it, and it is called Short Stories in Japanese for Intermediate Learners. And it is written by Ollie Richards, the guy that I was talking about earlier, who made the course that I'm taking called Japanese Uncovered. So I'm looking forward to when that actually is printed and arrives at my house. I've already bought it, just waiting on it to get shipped here. Mash that like button if you've enjoyed laughing at my broken Japanese or laughing at my very old manga collection that I've still hung on to and are all ratty and torn up. And if you are further along than me and want to correct my grammar, please do so in the comments, especially if you are a native speaker. And like I said, check out my list of Japanese books that I recommended in this video on bookshop.org, which is a website that helps independent bookstores flourish so that you can support an independent bookstore in addition to getting the material that you want. じゃあね。